Well, they made us feel like it was 1999 again, Pezza. Australia made 445 and India are 4 for 51. I might go and sit on my dad's lap and eat an ice cream tonight because that's what it felt like being a kid watching Australia pre-Y2K. The world was better when you could play outside without a GPS tracker telling your parents where you were, when you didn't get targeted ads smashed into your brain because you whispered something in passing in a conversation 3 weeks ago. This is what it was like, Pezza, when you were a kid and you'd get excited because Mum would say, hey, should we get a Viennetta tonight? And you thought, maybe the Queen's going to come over because this is exactly the sweet kind of God-tier treat that I need. God, it made you feel safe. It was like a warm embrace from 11 blokes you'd never met. Australian bowlers running in at the Gabba, Pezza. Balls flying in all sorts of directions. Baggy greens taking impossible catches behind the wicket. I'm sitting on my dad's lap, demolishing an ice cream that would later develop into a crippling sugar addiction. But Australia was winning at home, thanks to Big Basket Now.
तुम कितने लोगों की सीक्रेट सेंटा बनोगी?
वो सब तो घर के लिए है.
Big Basket. Get cookies, plum cakes and more in 10 minutes. Shop now.
Pezza, Australia's winning, but the rain might save India. And the rain's never helped Australia in a big series, so this is unfair. But good day for the Aussies. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, is Australia winning? Here goes. You know, you paint a beautiful picture, an evocative picture with your words about when Australia was great, when you felt safe, sitting on your dad's lap eating an ice cream and a Viennetta if you'd been extra special. And now in the 2020s, you know, India just sends the old weather blimp up there, Jay Shah afoot, chemtrails, 5G, Penguins Day out. Now you're getting a lap dance from someone sitting on your lap eating a Viennetta of sorts. If you know what I mean. I don't. I certainly don't know what I mean because that's the feeling I get. You know, the emptiness. Yeah, the numbers on the page are good. We can all wank ourselves over Australia bowling Fuller and India not knowing how to. We can all have our laughs about, you know, Mitch Marsh getting unnecessary airtime like somebody taking a catch at the pool playing classic catches and taking the snaffle nonetheless. And that is his want and it's his prerogative. You know, we can all laugh at Yashasvi Jaiswal absolutely creaming one into them with a throwdown before the game, only to miss exactly the same shot because apparently he doesn't like half volleys on leg stump. But the reality is, unless something majestic happens, and by majestic or lucky, I'm referring to just the Australian prism. After all, that is the only audience here tonight. India's going to waltz into Boxing Day 1-1. Here goes. And I think they'll go in with a spring in their step. I believe that India has known from almost ball one today of this game that it's going to be rained off and have played accordingly. You know, you only have to see Australia on the field. Pretend, you know, like, what's the deal with the cameras, he goes, where one shot, it looks like it's midday and the next shot looks like it's midnight. I've got no idea what the light is. You know, like... Australia are out there. Camo's got his shades on to talk to the umpires because, you know, when you trick umpires, it actually works. Rohit's locked himself in the sheds. You know, I think it's 1-0 India. Really, they've known the situation in this game from ball one, and they're going to walk away, you know, with equal footing on Australia.
Whether India's playing in a test series or not, India always wins, including that series against England and New Zealand. Who's winning over there? India. You know, I saw a bloke from Argentina take a double hat-trick just now on Instagram. India's winning that as well. Anyway, let's talk about what's happened in the game today, Pezza. And I just want to start off by saying, how are you, Kratz? How are you, Kratzy boy? Mitchell Starc comes steaming into Jaiswal. The first ball's been edged through maybe fifth slip. I'd already been edged myself, I've got to be honest. In the warm-up, as Viennetta stuff, yeah, dad's lap kind of gear. In the warm-up you alluded to earlier, Jaiswal has just hammered a flick shot off his pads while getting a gentle throwdown straight into our friend Tammer, the CA videographer's leg, who turns around very politely but also says, like, mate, what's doing? This time Jaiswal plays the same shot into the giant buckets of Mitch Marsh. Now there's a hug that I'd like to receive. Now there's a handshake that would tickle your elbows. It was like two catcher's mitts trying to catch a tic-tac. Yeah, that's how little you know, escape room there was for that ball to escape. escape the clutches and the claws of the bison.
The bucket.
Yeah, there's 4 big buckets for hooves. Next
That's
over,
if I could jump in there, like with Mitch Marsh's catch, there was a lot of rancor in the group once he's taken the catch about how sort of scared he was. It was one of those ones you couldn't tell how quickly it was coming to him. He had his hands up there, and he's like, you almost dropped it. It's like, mate, with mitts like that, nothing should be dropped. Like, as you said, it's tic tacs, it's pebbles stuff. I've got no sympathy for that whatsoever. If I had mitts like that, I'd never want to drop a catch in my life.
The next over, the Bison takes a great grab, a backward point / sort of straightish gully, or maybe just a regulation gully. I don't know where he was fielding, off Shubman Gill. The celebration is raucous, and then Kratz has done it again. He also gets the celebration of saving a boundary, which then, instead of it going for 4 off Kale Rahul, Coley then gets on strike and then gets out. So, we all want the guy to play who's not playing. We all want him to play, whether that be it could be Boland, it could be Nisa, it could be Jai Richardson, it could be Sarfaraz Khan, it could be anyone. You always want the guy that's not playing to be playing, and time and time and time and time again, the top 3 big boys and line, they just keep being too good. It's like we all want a sweet new treat, a new sugar hit, but when I'm getting my staples, which are just hitting all the right areas, and, it's always Stark that is like the one that should be dropped for, the guy that's not playing. And yet again, he just takes these new ball wickets. He looks fucking unplayable. I guess we won't get to see the new thing at the MCG because the bowler's going to be fresh, and Stark is currently Australia's best bowler in the series. So, how are you, Kratz?
Oh, mate. You say Kratz. There's a kids show at the moment called Wild Kratz as well. I'm in absolute bits every time my kids put it on. Like, they're like, Dad, open your whole mouth when you talk. I'm like, how are you, Kratz? How are you, Kratzy? Mate, I agree about staples as well. That's why every time I get an ice cream, it's just a golden gate time. Every time.
Yep.
I can't move past it. It just offers too much. And much like the golden gate time, the top 3 big boy quicks, the cartel, they have to be picked. They do it time and again. He goes, for all of our wants of novelty and fresh new toys, and we will get them. We will get toys. They will come. But as soon as those toys come, we're going to pine for the gate time, the golden gate time. What with its caramel and biscuit, but it's a separate issue. Hey mate, it's a rainy old day here.
Yeah, but, TGC once again delivering. Much in the same way that Big Basket now have delivered. Here is our in 10 moment. Now, Big Basket, now 'tis the season. Everything at your door in 10 minutes or less, perhaps. Christmas trees, Christmas stars, Christmas decor, cookies and plum cakes. That's right. How are you, cakes? Electronics, toys, other sort of gifting ranges, anything that you need. If you are celebrating the Christmas season, as is your want, or perhaps not. Big Basket's delivering to your door in 10 minutes. And thanks to Big Basket now for getting behind TGC. It all starts with a big heart. Now, Pezza, India and all sorts. I want to talk about the in 10 segment. They batted 17 overs today. They got a couple of overs there at spin there before once again it was off the field. They were off the field 12 times today. Apparently the record is 14. Can you hear sirens? That's right. You're about to go to jail for knowing those kind of statistics, okay? But Coley nicked off to the bush horse. Rishab nicks a better ball to Cummins. Jaiswal, it's loose. Shubman Gill's a little loose. Everyone knew the game plan. They were going to bowl half volleys, and everyone fell to a half volley. I thought personally, you're just going to have to preface this because he's been such a good player. Coley, here's my opinion. I think Coley's a good player. And I don't even know what I'm suggesting when I'm about to say this. But fuck me, it was a dreadful shot that Coley played. It was just a dreadful shot. And, it's like, it's sort of a semi on the up cover drive. They're just playing for rain. He has in the past executed that shot well, but he's just getting out to that shot so regularly, and the plan is so obvious, and they're just like basically placing it there, and it's like, go and nick it, and he just plays his part and he nicks it. Coley's a good player. That was a dreadful shot. It was a dreadful shot, and I've seen recently actually there was some talk about Tendulkar scored like a double 100 in Adelaide. I think it might have been against his Australian side in a Test series, and previously he'd been out to the cover drive and the off drive several times. And he just decided in that innings, he goes, I'm not going to play a cover drive. I just refuse to do it. What do you know? He scores double 100. Adelaide, of course, a great batting wicket at the time. But the point being that he was skilled enough to recognise that he was getting out to a shot, put it away, and had the class and the consistency and the other stroke play to do that. I just don't know why Kohli's continually hanging the bat outside fifth stump. I don't even know what the answer is. I'm not even saying he should be dropped or anything like that. That's ridiculous. But it's just You'd be disappointed. Like if you're an Australian fan and one of your best players played that shot, geez, you'd be disappointed. Anyway, India and all sorts. Not sure it matters, but I don't know. There's a hospital pass. What do you want to do with that, mate?
I'll just take up the opposing view to that. King Kohli, just with the emoji. Have you considered that? I'm just getting ahead of the comments. And preferably in caps, capital letters, King Kohli. There is that on the flip side, just to ensure that we are giving both sides of that argument on the clear weakness that he has that would be frustrating to continually watch but not be able to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, just moving along before we get into what today means and what the status of the game is. I just want to talk about Carey's 70, Pezza. He finishes 70 off 88. I've read this afternoon just some absolute garbage that Carey had some pressure on his spot, which I think is just again that Inglis is a new toy and he's in the squad and he's been doing good things for Western Australia. But Carey hits 108 metres 6 by charging Akash deep and throwing it over mid-off. That was enormous. But finishes 70 off 88. There's been talk into this series about how good a form he's been in, but he's 33 years old. He's played 34 tests now. The gloves are impeccable just about now. He averages 31 with a bat. I reckon we're looking at prime Carey right now. This is about as good as we're going to get with Carey. The runs are good. The gloves are good. It's 34 tests, so it's experienced. I just think he's becoming a critical part of the side. Some people will say these are some better cash-in runs. Might be true. I think Mitch Marsh would have killed for some cash-in runs, but he had to face Bumrah with a brand new ball. So, but Carey 70, just want to give some love to Kez,
Yeah, dog. I think that good judges have been predicting something special from Carey for a little while now, and he hasn't produced it yet because I don't think that moment has come for him yet. But I don't think it's half a bad shout that he might do something quite critical or special in the course of this series over the next, 2.5 test matches. I'm not sure what opportunity he has with this game to go. I mean, there's clearly still time. It's just subject to weather. But I completely agree. I've never seen him bat better. He's never looked sharper or more authoritative at the crease. He hasn't had, I just get the impression over 5 tests, a situation will be thrown up for him where he'll have the chance to do the thing that he'll be most remembered for, at least in Test cricket. At the moment, the thing he's probably most remembered for is that 98 not out in Christchurch, where, Pat Cummins doesn't realise that he's on that score. Nonsense will say that it's stumping Bairstow or running him out, or whatever you want to call it. All good. AFP ads coming your way. So I completely agree. He's looking fantastic. And usually in cricket, if pundits on the internet say you're looking fantastic, that must mean that runs are around the corner.
You are watching Gospel. We're actually changing the name of the show to just Gospel. All right, last thing before we move to AskTGC, Pezza, is can India survive / a huge moment for Australia / the series? I feel like there's some... depending what happens in the next couple of days, if India get rolled, they'll be like, geez, India have fallen off a cliff in the last 3 months of Test cricket after what happened with New Zealand. Low scores in the first innings again, no runs with the batters, and maybe Bumrah's just majestic performance in Perth was the aberration. I mean, obviously Jaiswal made 160, of course he did, but maybe that's how this is the new narrative heading into the Boxing Day Test might look like. I don't know. It's a new thing, and we'll change our minds. And once again, Gospel.
I guess he goes how many overs does Australia need to take 16 wickets? Yeah, that's really the question. What's available to them? 200 overs, give or take, with some rain around. How many overs do you need to take 16 wickets for Australia with India? trying to survive, presumably, in the second innings. You know, they probably need at least like 60 to 70 overs, I reckon, to get those wickets. And
I was going to say 80,
That said, you know, I mean, if they got it done in 60 overs from here, it'd be unbelievable. The wicket does look very difficult to bat on. I think there was a moment when they returned from one of the 12 breaks where Cummins bowled this leg cutter that went past KL Rahul, and everybody laughed, like including the batter. And we know that the Gabba can start to divot. So, you know, I know India's got the weather balloon up there and whatnot, but probably the worst result for India would be if, with the combination of rain and sound the alarms here, a fair bit of sun came out, dried it out, and you're seeing serious divots on the deck where it's basically impossible to play because it's going left to right and up and down. So, you know, a bit of cloud cover around is probably going to help India. I think Australia's up against it time-wise. You know, and then you've got the whole thing of like the follow-on, guys being tired, might be queue and rack stuff. India's had the queue and the rack since ball one in this game. It's. I think Australia need, like, they can't go off the ground too many more times, I reckon.
Yes, good point. AskTGC. Mare in the Drink said, how are you, Hoover? Bingers Pingers said, Roof, where is? I went to school in the city, said Johnny Wilkinson, 2003 Rugby World Cup stuff from the Penguins today. What does that mean? Is it like the Penguins threw the ball into the right foot and then dropped it over 3 points? Is that what we're talking about here?
Is he saying that that the referee got in the way of the Aussies in the World Cup final? I mean, I don't think that's... Really...
I'm happy to go with it. I'm happy to go with Australia being wronged. Yeah.
I thought England were deserved winners of the 03 World Cup in rugby. But, you know, that's a different show we do.
The grade physicist said, bad light, just get the Smith optics on, surely. Exactly. Well done, Pat Cummins, trying to trick the umpires, as you alluded to. Punter forearm pulling through mid-wickets said, why did she leave? That's a very good question. But if you're on the Patreon chat, I think there's a pretty good reason why she did, mate. Ball swap mind game deluxe. Can I have some more dopamine, please? Yeah. Well, good news is the Big Bash is on tonight, so we will get some action. I think the game's is that in Sydney or Melbourne? That game tonight. Who knows and who's to say? Aditya Singh said opinions on Jadeja's salad. I mean, I think we've always maintained, Pez, that Jadeja's salad is world class. I think we've always said that.
I actually think that people are sleeping on the salads of the entire Indian men's team generally, and I include Mohammad Shami in that through eugenics recently and Michael Bevan. But in all seriousness, like through the anthems the other day, I could barely focus on Jai Hind. Owing to the bouffants that lay before me, you know. I mean, go through it. Shubman Gill, Rishabh's got a bouffant there. Ravindra Jadeja,
Rohit.
Rohit. Kohli doesn't miss. Kohli hasn't been missing for a long time.
No.
So mate, you name it. It's a wonderful team of salads and bouffants.
A couple of other comments here. Solar panels doing fuck all now, aren't they? Ain't that the tooth? Why does the rain turn up more than my dad ever did? Does it love me? Does the rain love me?
Fair few rain delay conversations here. That's the thing that's never really picked up in like in the mainstream establishment press when conversation turns to, what did you do during the rain delay, and who was the biggest pest? You know, I like to play cards. I like to play dressing room cricket and pine for the touch of a woman one day. No one talks about the other people in the corner talking about why did she leave me and where's my dad gone?
Yes.
That was a real test for me.
Higo's wedding called off. Budget, we're gone. Indeed. Gabatoir, Gabba Reservoir, more like it. I mean, that's pretty much sums up the general theme. Penguins going fucking wild tonight on the Oak Chalky Milk. Indeed, a huge day for the Penguins the next couple of days where they decide when we play and when we don't play. Thoughts to the ground staff as well, getting the cardio up. That's always good to see. Pezza, I feel like it's a big couple of days in this series. If India can somehow get through it, you know, we move and the game is the game. I feel like if Australia roll through India, jeez. I mean, they have done it before, of course, in Australia, but it just feels like it's a long way back, you know?
And spare a thought a couple of weeks out for all of the non-Sydney, parochial types who are just drafting up tweets for any hint of rain in Sydney. Like people in Sydney are nervous at the moment because while it's always been a novelty when it rains during the Sydney test, if a rained off Sydney test happens in spite, like due to this, mate, the toys out of the pram of the rest of the country will be something to behold. You know, it'll be Clean Up Australia Day after that. It's, you know, and that's what it's all to play for. He goes, these are the adjacent stories that people aren't talking about, you know?
And you've got to ask, why aren't they talking about these stories? Is there an agenda? Well, I guess we'll find out, you know. Thanks for joining us here on TGC. Thanks for Big Basket Now. You know what? Tomorrow we'll be back again because, you know what, we're working hard for you here. And, tomorrow, big day. Big day. See you later.